Hi, welcome to the Batch Lady, where usually I show you how to make fast, simple, homemade meals that you can make in advance, put in your freezer and use whenever you want. Welcome to Module 5 of my batch cooking course, where I'm just going through each system of various things of how you can batch cook absolutely successfully. Today I am talking about labeling bags, no matter what sort of tub that you use, how you want to get stuff in your freezer, but the fact that you want to label it and store it correctly, okay? So that's what we'll be doing today, Module 5. Let's get going. Okay, so one of the things that you never want is this. This is what we like to call a UFO, okay? Now if I bring this closer, you'll see this has been put in the freezer. And I've thought, I know exactly what's in that. I'll remember that. I'll definitely remember that, okay? Believe me, I don't remember what I had for dinner 2 nights ago. I am never going to remember that 4 weeks ago I put this in the freezer and was going to remember what it was. This just looks like brown food now. It could be absolutely anything, okay? Right. So, depending on what you use. So, if you've got toddlers or anything like that, you may be using these silicone trays, which are very good ice cube trays with a silicone base. You might be putting things in the freezer like that, so I'm going to go through that. You may be using these silicone heavy duty bags, or the PEVA ones that I use quite often. All these bags, if you're looking for them, are on my website, because I know I always get lots of questions at the end of these videos saying, where'd you get your bags? Look on my website, www.batchlady.com. It gives you whatever is on my shop is the ones that I'm recommending currently this month from Amazon that I would buy myself that I think are good to buy. And then we've got our normal plastic ones. You know, these are the ones that you can wash and use a good few times, but eventually they're going to come to the end of their lifespan very quickly. We're using any reusable ones are going to last like hundreds and hundreds of times more than that. And then you've got things like your glass dishes with your plastic lids that you might be putting in like a lasagna or an enchilada or something like that. You want to know how to label that, okay? And then you've also got things like ice cream tubs, if any of you like to reuse them, or your Chinese tubs or that type of thing. So basically, I would say there are 2 great things for labeling. There is a Sharpie pen, a permanent Sharpie pen in black. Sometimes the coloured ones don't work the same, so you probably want to look at black. Or you want a uni chalk marker pen. These you can get on the Amazon shop as well, uni chalk marker pens, and I'm going to go through that in a minute. If you are using this permanent Sharpie, you only want to use it on things that are disposable or that you're happy to score out and write on a few more things as you go down, okay? They work brilliantly for these types of bags, but that's all you really want to use them on, okay? If you're using the chalk marker, you can write on absolutely anything, leave it to dry, and then it'll wash off. But I just want to explain, if I grab one of these bags out, okay, if I write on it quickly, if I don't let it dry, if I haven't let that dry and I go like that, it's going to make a big mess. So when you write on it with your chalk marker, you want to be careful that your hand at the side isn't rubbing it out. You want to make sure that you've written on it and it's worked perfectly. Leave it to dry just about 3 or 4 minutes, then you can use it, okay? You can also use labels, freezer labels. Now, you cannot use normal labels. They have to be ones that are called freezer labels, okay? And these are very good if you're using tubs or anything like that, but they're very small, they're tiny, they don't give you a lot of room to write on. So if you're using one of these uni chalk pens, you can even write on dishes like this and they'll still wash off, okay? So I would always say my 100% safe bet is the chalk pen. Just another quick top tip about labels, okay? Although they say that they're freezer labels, they only work on some bags, okay? The freezer labels, depending on what brand you get, will depend on how it works, and they're all changeable. I tend not to use them for this reason. They do not work on these silicone thick bags, okay? They look like they've stuck on, but the minute you put them in the freezer, they just pop back off. So they are a nightmare because then you're left with tons of UFOs. So I would say, if you can, stay away from freezer labels as much as possible, unless you've found ones that work work absolutely perfect. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, if you're using these little, you're putting stuff into little trays like this and you're letting them freeze, then I would generally just put these in the freezer like this for a couple of hours, bring them out, pop them out, and then get them into a bag. So make sure you label your bag. These are a bit trickier to label, and you really don't want to be freezing things in your actual tubs anyway, so just pop them out and make sure the bag that you're using is labelled. Now, in terms of what to put on your bag, when you're actually writing on your bag, I'm going to put up on the screen each one as we talk about it, okay? 1, you want to put the title of whatever it is. Okay, spaghetti carbonara or tuna stir fry, that type of thing. You want the title. You want how many people it serves, because again, you'll never remember. Is it 2, 4, 6? So how many people it serves in the title. You then want to put on the date, because if it's something that you put in the freezer a lot, like I put in spaghetti bolognese a lot, I want to make sure that I'm taking the oldest one out first and leaving the one that's most recent, because your meals last about 3 months in the freezer, so you want a really good rotation. Now, actually a bit more information that you can put on from there. So that's like the general standard, the date, the title of it, and how many it serves. I often like to put on as well, what are the cooking instructions? Because when you pull it out the freezer and it's left to defrost and then you come home from work, you want to bung it in the oven. You don't want to go away and find one of my recipe books and open it back up and write 180 degrees for 30 minutes. Instead, when you're actually just cooking it and you're portioning it out, perfect time to write on cook at 180 degrees for 30 minutes. Then you know your cooking time. And if you are amazing at batching and you want to be super organized, I also write things on like what to serve it with. Because quite often I don't have the headspace to think about it when I'm going and grabbing something out from the freezer. When I'm cooking it at the time, I'd say I was cooking 2 chilies, I might think, oh, one night we could have one of these with rice, and the next time I could put one on nachos. I just write on, serve with nachos and corn on the cob, and the other one served with rice. When I pull it out of the freezer, I look, perfect, we'll have that one with rice. I know the next one that's in there, when I pull it out, we're going to have a different variation of how we're going to serve it. So they're my top tips on what to write on, okay? Now, when you are finished with your bag and you want to wash it off, okay? So if you've used the chalk marker, you're going to wash it off. If you use a Sharpie, you're going to score it off. It's not going to come off the same. But in terms of washing them, my top tips are that you want to get a GoDaddy sponge. They've got a soft side and they've got a more sort of abrasive side. They are great. They sort of, once they're soft, they'll squish into all different shapes, but they actually just with hot soapy water and your sponge, it washes off very well. I like this abrasive side. You sometimes just need a little bit of abrasion just to get it off. And again, when you're cleaning bags, if you've had something that's quite sort of oily in your bag, then that abrasive side works really well for cleaning your bag as well. And if you want to give your bags a really good clean as well, then consider using Milton Tablets. Just pop a Milton tablet in some water, pop in your bags, and it'll, again, just if you want to give them a really good freshen up and make sure they're 100% sterile, then that's a great idea. Okay, so when you want to write in your bags is quite important. So many people write on their bags once they've filled the bag. So you've filled it, you lay it out, and then you try to write on it. Well, that's really hard to write on. And actually, bags don't write, it won't sometimes allow you to write on it. If it's got any heat or any moisture at all, it just won't let you write on it. It's a bit like writing on a wet piece of paper, it won't work. So you want to write on your bags before you fill them, no matter what bag you're using. So when your food is boiling away and it's getting ready for you're going to take it off the stove and let it to cool, then you want to get your bags prepared and write everything you need. Then you're just writing as if it's a piece of paper. You're just writing on it so easily. It can sit there and dry off, and by the time you're filling it, it's all dry and it's going to stay on there throughout the whole time that it's in the freezer. Don't write on your bags once you've already filled them, okay? I hope you have really enjoyed this section of how to label your bags. You should from now on have no UFOs. Good luck in your batching.